Hi there, I'm Susie Duffy and I am the guest host of Community Forum today, and I'm bringing you my segment called Awakening Prosperity. I would like you to welcome my guest, Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Susie.
How are
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm so excited to have you here today because you're going to talk about your business, which I would love for you to just share with what you do. And we're also going to discuss how you've kind of, you have a family and your family is growing and you've figured out a way to work from home and to be with your kids and spend time with your kids. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that because I think that's part of awakening people's prosperity.
Absolutely.
Showing them that there is another way, that you don't have to work 40, 50 hours a week and put your kids in daycare. So I think it's really important that we share this with people so that they know that you can have your cake and eat it too. Right?
Absolutely.
Great. So the name of your consulting business is Kate Fitzpatrick's Consulting. Mm-hmm. And what exactly do you do for people?
I do social media and PR, so I really kind of demystify social media. And I do websites and all those things that people find very, very scary. I really enjoy simplifying and either doing it for people or giving them the tools to do it themselves to really get their message and their mission out to a greater audience.
Which is part of being prosperous, is
exactly.
Spreading your word. So what exactly is your background?
I started off in magazines in Manhattan. That was the area of communications that I started off in, and I really wanted to help more people. And cancer was something that I had dealt with in my family, and I ended up working at a nonprofit called the T.J. Martell Foundation, helping to raise money for cancer research. And I became their communications manager. So I learned how to update their website for them and all of their social media platforms. I was sending out their press releases. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I was living in the city when I became pregnant with my first child and moved out of the city back to Connecticut where I grew up. And like you said, I sort of had this moment where, am I going to work 40 or 50 hours a week and have my child in daycare, or am I going to stay home? Because I really thought those were my two options.
Right.
So thankfully, after my daughter was born, my CEO said, you can work from home, we'll work out a consulting agreement, and you can work a certain number of hours a week. And it just grew from there. I was really lucky.
That's fantastic. And how have you found your clients? If someone's going to start an at-home business
right.
and start working out of their house, I would imagine that it would be overwhelming to say, I'm going to go and find clients. So where do you find the bulk of your clients?
It was definitely overwhelming, especially building a business with a very small child.
Right.
But I found networking groups to be absolutely key. And I found other mothers to be so, so supportive. Mm-hmm. And that's really where I grew my business. I found a wonderful group where I met you, and I met a coach named Patty Lennon who works almost exclusively with moms. And it was called Believe, Inspire, Grow, or mm-hmm. BIG. And once a month we got together with these women who had almost all started their own businesses. And so we learned from each other and pooled resources. And, some of them hired me to do their social media and their websites. And I hired a few of them to do my printing or, to be my virtual assistant and things like that. So we all really helped each other.
Right. Networking is a beautiful thing.
It
and
really
it's really
is.
necessary if you're going to be starting a business. I mean, any kind
Yep.
of business. And just having that word of mouth advertising, I think.
Especially when you work from home. Like you said, it can be very isolating. You're not going into an office every day, all day, and speaking to tons of other adults and bouncing ideas off people. So working from home can be isolating. Having a small child can be isolating. Working for yourself can be isolating. So it was really important to get out there as much as I could.
Yeah, for the social aspect as well as
exactly.
spreading your word.
Exactly.
Right, excellent. So social media can be a pretty scary thing for people. I know for myself, I'm great with Facebook and I'm great with email,
right.
and you know that about me. But the other stuff, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, I mean, how do you help people to not have so much resistance about getting onto all the different social media sites?
Well, I think it's important that people realize it is overwhelming, and you're not the only one who's overwhelmed by it. Everyone can find themselves overwhelmed by it at some point, so that's really important to acknowledge when you start off. And then you really want to start small. You know that your strengths are Facebook and email marketing.
Right.
So that's awesome, and you stick mainly with that, and that's what works for you. And I feel like it's really important for people to, pay attention to what's working, first of all, mm-hmm. and what they're enjoying doing. Because if they're not enjoying it, then people are not going to be connecting to them on that level, and they're probably not engaging people. So I also really ask people, a business owner, when I start working with them, I ask them, what's your goal for social media?
Right.
What kind of business do you have? And what do you enjoy doing? Going back to it, because if you're not enjoying it, it's probably not going to go off so well. But, you have to really think about the ideal client who you're trying to reach, and where do they spend their time?
Right.
And what information are you trying to convey? Is it mainly visuals? Do you have a product that you're highlighting?
Right.
Or are you sharing your expertise and your advice with people in a more, text way, in a way with quotes? Or is it mainly visual content? So these are all really important questions to ask.
Absolutely. Trying to, help people to get more clear on what their message is and who they're looking for, I think that's the way you're going to help them to focus their energies.
And focusing is key. And, setting an alarm for 15 or 20 minutes is key, because you can't get sucked in.
Talk a little bit about that, because I love that concept. Because, I think that time just kind of spins by when you're on these social media sites, and you can lose track of what the real income producing parts of your business are.
Exactly, and we call it chasing shiny objects in social media, because if you're on Facebook for your business, that's a wonderful thing, but you need to have a Facebook business page.
Right.
So that when you log in, that's the side of Facebook that you're in, and you're not even looking at your high school friends' weekend pictures and baby pictures and things that are really distracting, and they're wonderful things for not feeling isolated. But if you are trying to produce income and build your business, you need to be on the business side of it.
Right, because that completely dilutes focus. And,
exactly.
Can actually make you less prosperous.
Well, and that's why I created my 14 minutes a day system, because over the past few years, people would say to me, I enjoy social media socially, but it's so distracting. I don't see how I can make any money building my business on it, and it's way too time consuming, and I'm not seeing any results.
Right.
So I literally took the top social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, that people were coming to me with the most questions about. And I told them, spend 2 minutes doing this, then spend 3 minutes doing this, then spend 4 minutes doing this. So my clients have an outline for exactly how they should be spending their time and energy. And I just got a lot of really great feedback. I have a mom of 4 who is a life coach and a business coach. And she said to me after the class, I finally have free time.
Right.
And that was my goal, so that people could free up some time and energy. And now I've seen firsthand what she has done with that time and energy. She's made such great changes to her business and her marketing, and she's exploring Instagram now because she has the time and energy to do it, and she's not overwhelmed anymore.
And she's more effective while she's on there. That's
Exactly.
amazing. That's really helpful for people.
Yeah.
That's great. So the 14-minute,
14 minutes a day.
14 minutes a day. And is that a webinar series that you have?
We did a live webinar series over the course of the fall, and now it's a training series that's available on my website, so people can just do it whenever, because a lot of people wanted to do it live and be able to ask questions, and then other people wanted to just purchase it and have it in their files for when they had time for it, so now it's on the website.
That's great. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So how important, or why is it important for people to take advantage of social media?
Well, social media is really an incredible platform for business owners these days to be displaying their authority in their field and displaying some personality. It's really kind of the 411 and the yellow pages these days. People don't look...
Why do they give us phone books?
I know, right? People don't really look in the yellow pages, and they ask their friends for referrals. So when they're asking their friends for referrals, social media is really the ultimate word of mouth.
True.
And it's really sort of like the amplifier. I call it the megaphone for those word of mouth referrals. So if your business doesn't have a presence on social media, and I'm not saying it needs to be on every single platform, it needs to be on the platform where your target audience is and where you feel good. But if you don't have at least a presence, then you're missing out on that amazing word of mouth.
I mean, there's just a huge network of people out there. I mean, millions and millions of people that you could be attracting.
Exactly.
It's kind of amazing, really.
It really is amazing, and people are very overwhelmed by it, so they stay away from it, but it is here to stay. I was a late bloomer, a late
Really?
adopter, because I felt like when it came about, so many of my friends were just wasting so much time on it, and I wasn't using it for business, so I didn't really understand that part of it. But once I started using it for business and for my nonprofit client, I really saw the value.
Yep.
And now I haven't even looked back. I just
Right.
feel like, for the past few years, we've proven that it is here to stay.
Absolutely.
It's definitely changing, and we have to change with it, but it's not going anywhere. So
believe that
if
too.
people are still resistant to it, I would love to work with
Right.
them.
It's great that you help them embrace
Right.
it, for sure. Okay, so I know you have done some amazing work on my website. Do you design websites as well?
Yes, I do. I just feel like it's so important these days for businesses to have a great website.
Absolutely.
It does not need to be anything complicated, but again, you need to have a presence online because that's where people are going
Right.
to find information. So I have a wonderful website designer who I worked with to build my website, and then we rebuilt a travel agent's website. So if you have a website that's just kind of old and needs some tweaking, we can help you with that. And if it's just time for you to finally have a website for your business, we can help you with that too.
Oh, that's great. That's really helpful.
And
so it's kind of like the whole, you can get the whole package.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. It doesn't have to be really crazy complicated. We can train you to update it yourself. So once it's up and running, you can do it yourself, or we can update it for you.
I think that's really important to share with people because I think that there's this belief out there, and I've actually met quite a few people that charge substantial amounts to build websites, and so it's good that you can do that and help people to partner with you to make that possible for them.
Right, and I just love working with my website designer and just having someone on my team who's fantastic, and she's also a mom, and
Right.
she's working from home and just really enjoys this kind of work. And I could have figured out how to do it. I can do the basics for my own site, but she's just so passionate about it and really enjoys it, and
So that's her
so
strength.
I enjoy working with her a lot.
That's fantastic. Well, I've definitely benefited from that. So
I'm
thank
glad.
you.
You're welcome.
Because you took the pain out of that for me.
Well, I just feel like so much of our energy can go to things that are not necessary. And
It's true.
especially when you're raising a family and growing a business, you have to delegate something, and
Right.
you can't do everything.
You have so many things going on that
Right.
something is gonna,
And I love for my clients to be involved. If someone just completely hands something over to me, it's absolutely fine, but I
Right.
really enjoy working with clients who want to be involved and,
having that
craft their
cooperative
own
energy, and
exactly.
that's very creative to do that
Yeah.
with people as well.
It's a lot of fun.
And then it's part of their, their voice and what they want to share with the world,
Right.
which is great.
Exactly.
Okay, so who is your perfect client?
My perfect client is probably a working mom who has created a business based on a passion in her life, and she recognizes that she can't do everything, that she needs to delegate something.
Right.
And she needs to either get some training from me as to how to do these things herself, or she needs to delegate something to me, and really understands the value and appreciates the value of what I do.
Right, that's fantastic. That's great.
Thanks.
That would be me.
Exactly.
That's
Well,
great.
I heard someone say, I think it was Patty Lennon, my first business coach, who said to me, usually when you're identifying your ideal client, it's some version of yourself. It's either who you used to be,
Right.
who you are now, who you want to be. There's something in common.
Right, because you're going to want to help, you know where you've been.
Exactly, and you can
Right.
relate to that person. So, and I relate to starting a business when I had a small daughter and trying to figure things out and trying to do everything, and then getting to the point where I needed to hire a virtual assistant, and I needed her to do my website for me, and then I needed her to do some research for some clients and slowly take on things like that. So,
Right, so it's kind of like it mirrors your journey.
Right,
As far as
exactly.
who you're looking for.
and the other part of my ideal client is she's probably in some form of the health and wellness industry, because that's one of my passions. Like I said, some people in my family have had illness issues and health issues, and so I'm really passionate. I will probably never be a nurse or a doctor, but
Right.
this is sort of my way of helping just people and the world be healthier, because I'm really conscious of that stuff now. So most of my clients are chiropractors, nutritionists, and working moms.
Right, and gyms.
And gyms and wellness
yeah.
coaches and life coaches. So
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So that's another aspect of giving back as far as helping people to
Right.
grow businesses that are going to affect the world, really.
Exactly.
Right? That's awesome. So now that you are transitioning from one child to two, will you be doing anything different?
Definitely. So because you introduced me to send out cards, which I absolutely love.
Can you just share a little bit about what send out cards is?
Absolutely. So it's a wonderful website that lets people brighten someone's day in under 2 minutes, very easily and in a cost-effective way. So you can send someone a card and let them know that you're thinking of them, or wish them a happy birthday, a happy anniversary, send them a gift. I keep using the example. It was my brother's birthday a few months ago. I realized, I think 3 days before, and he had just had his first son. So I sent him a card with a picture of him and his son on it, and a pack of brownies, and I think it took me under 2 minutes. And you know, he lives 2 hours away, so I wasn't going to be able to see him. And if I, with my 2-year-old daughter, had to go to CVS, pick out a card, bake some brownies, go to the post office, find his address, it absolutely would have just been a little more time consuming and much more expensive. So I just really appreciate it on so many levels. So I became a distributor with Send Out Cards. And I just love sharing it with other moms who want to work, who want to have something that's theirs, or who need to generate some income, but they don't want to pay for daycare, or they don't, you know, have the money to pay for daycare, but they still want to do something.
Right.
So I'm really enjoying that.
So you get paid to share send out cards.
Exactly.
Okay. And as far as what you see for your future, as far as, I love to always clarify for people. I think, you know, part of awakening prosperity for people is to really get clear about your vision for the future and what you see. And I know, you know, going from one child to two, it's like you kind of can't picture it. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to do this twice.
Right.
It gets easier.
I hope so. I'm going to quote
you. Each child gets a little easier. It does, for sure. And then, you know, you look back and you're like, I have no idea how I ever lived without this little being in my life. You do. You really do. So with that and introducing another child into your household, so you've taken on send out cards and believing that that's going to help you as far as a residual income goes.
Definitely.
Which, can you talk a little bit about what you see for residual income in your life and what that means as far as, you know, changing the way your family operates? And
Right. I just think the whole structure of the network marketing business that Send Out Cards is based on is fantastic, because it means that I could be in a play date like I was yesterday and sharing it with some other moms who thought it was a fantastic idea not to have to drag their kids to CVS every time it was someone's birthday, or, you know, drag their kids to any kind of card store.
Right.
And I just love being able to talk to people about it and share it with people, but not need to, you know, track my hours. As a consultant, you know, we bill by the hour sometimes, or by the project, and, you know, it's just a different structure, and it seems to me like it will be much more freedom in my life. And
absolutely, yeah, because it's like, you know, you work today and you share it with people, and you get paid over time for what you built today, which is, I think it's an amazing concept.
I think so too, and I just find it, you know, I've only been involved for a few months, but it's just so rewarding to get paid to brighten someone's day. And to get paid to, you know, share with another mom who might be feeling really, really stuck and really, you know, dependent on her husband's income, and, you know, just not feel like she has a lot of options, and to be able to share this option with other moms and you know, other guys too. There are lots of really successful guys in Send Out Cards, and I just think it's fantastic to let people know there are a lot of other options out there than we originally thought.
Right, and I actually wanted to touch a little bit on the business professional aspect of Send Out Cards. I personally have a lot of, you know, realtors and insurance agents and people like that, so I just wanted to touch a little bit on sharing it from a business perspective and using it in your business to appreciate your clients.
My clients loved it when I started, and they still love it. That's how I started using it. I just thought it was very smart, you know, from a business perspective.
You started out as a customer to try it out.
I started as a customer, and people really did not expect to get a card in the mail from a social media manager.
And I'm expecting an e-card.
Exactly. And so to get a card in the mail these days, people really remembered it, whether it was, you know, happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank you for hiring me for that project, you know, congratulations on your new website. So my clients absolutely loved it, and people started asking me, you know, do you like that system? Do you know, how can I get involved? Do you think it's a good investment? And I said, well, it's $10 a month, or, it's very, very, it's a great value for your money compared to other things you could be doing to market your company, to reach out to people, to say it was nice to meet you, that kind of thing.
Right, and I always feel like it's that real personal touch.
Right.
You're able to touch someone in a personal way to say, hey, you matter to me. You're not just a number. You're not just a client that's paid me and I'm done with you now.
Right.
To really keep that, I think that personal deepening a relationship is really valuable in business.
Right. So in business, I've really loved it, and now I'm enjoying sharing it with other business owners. I'm talking to a few salons in town who send out mailings periodically, and just encourage people. Hey, you haven't been in a few months. Here's a coupon for $10 off, or 10% off, whatever it is. And I've spoken to a few realtors. A friend in Massachusetts who's now a realtor is thinking about using it for her company. So I just think it's very cost effective for businesses, especially in this day and age. And this is the time when a lot of companies are looking at it because they're putting together their marketing budgets for the year and really working it in.
That's a good point. And I love the way it marries the old school with the new school.
Me too.
There's nothing like getting a card in the mail. I think we've kind of lost the art of that personal touch.
Yep.
And to be able to have someone go to their mailbox and not just get bills, I love that part of it.
I love that too, and especially this time of year, because after the holidays, we're so used to getting so many cards in the mail. I know, and then it's sad because it's very sudden that it's back to just the junk and the bills and the things that we're not going to open. So that's why it's another really good time for people to be looking into it, because a few people have said to me, oh, I really don't have the $10 a month for, the extras. That's really an extra.
Right.
But if you think about, even if you send 2 or 3 cards a month, it's a much better investment.
It is, and the word of mouth advertising, I think, that you get from it, because it deepens your relationships with people. What happens is it sets up an energy. So you send a card to someone, it makes you feel good. They get the card, they feel good, and then it sets up that energy for them to say, I want to do something nice for Kate. She's done a great thing for me. She sent me this beautiful card, and she's really taken the time to appreciate me. And they don't know that card took under 30 seconds.
Right, exactly.
To send, right? Yep. So it makes them in this appreciative mode of you, and having them want to share your business with other people and say, hey, I have this amazing social media girl. So it's this energy, I think, that we put out that is just, you really can't even put a price on.
I love
for
that.
62 cents.
Yep. Well, I talk about the law of reciprocity in social media, and like you said, it really kind of marries the old school and the new school. Like, I love writing out a card to someone, and people are amazed to see stationery on my desk and note cards and stamps on my desk for the once in a while that I don't use send out cards. But I just think it really sets you apart. And, in social media, the more you comment on other people's posts and the more you like other people's pages, the more that comes back to you and gets more eyes on your brand. And it's the same with send out cards. I really feel like the more you look for things to appreciate in other people, the more that comes back to you too.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. So, perfect scenario moving forward. Your family, your 2 babies, your husband. Are you retired? Are you working? Are you?
I think I'll always work at something, and I think I'll work at something, and I'll volunteer at something, and I'll always be involved in nonprofit, and I'll always be involved in some kind of women's business groups. And above all, everyone will be healthy and happy, and
I love that.
Whatever that means. But healthy comes first, right. And I think I'll just always be involved in helping women, and especially helping moms, just to realize that you're not stuck. There is always another option. I feel like I have this conversation with friends on a regular basis. No matter how often we feel stuck, there's always another option. There's always something else to look at.
Right, and I think that's great, because I raised my kids. I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, and I think there was a lot of times when I felt very secluded and felt like I was living in my own world. And so often I talk to parents, and it's like we're all really living the same life.
Yeah, it's true.
We just don't share it as much as we should.
It's true.
To support one another and feel like we're all working in this life to raise our kids and have great families, and we all go through the same, challenges and daily situations. So I think being able to reach out and help people, not just in their, emotional and spiritual lives, but to help them business-wise, to really prosper in a different way when they're home with their kids. I'm constantly saying, I show people the website, and I'm on the phone, and I'm, in my pajamas, and I'm thinking, I always text Mike, I'm like, that was easy. He actually got me an easy button for Christmas.
Nice, that's awesome.
Because it's just so easy, and I think it kind of takes out all the work from, the whole marketing situation, because there is no product and it's completely online.
Right.
So I think, moving forward, I think you've done a really great thing as far as, making the decision to stay at home with your kids, which is not easy to do, especially to run a business and be home with your kids.
Right.
I know a lot of moms that have said, I don't even know how you stay home. I mean, it's probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done with my life, most rewarding, but definitely challenging to kind of give up. And you didn't have to really give up, which I think is really cool, to give up that piece of you.
Right. And I think everyone just kind of, I wish there was a perfect formula, because I wish there was something that everyone could do that worked for everyone, because another woman in one of our networking groups came to me when I told her that I was pregnant with my second child, and she said, well, I know you didn't have your business when you had your first child. You've built it between number 1 and number 2. So how is that going to look after your second child is born? And what are you going to do? What kind of a maternity leave are you going to take? And all these questions. I said, I really have no idea, but thank you for
bringing all these
all of them
to my mind.
Because she hadn't had children yet, and she was she's an acupuncturist, and she's fantastic, and just also trying to figure out how she will work from home and be home with children.
Oh, I love that.
So I wish I could give her the magic formula, but
magic formula. Well, maybe we'll come up with it. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Kate. This has been so much fun. I love having you on. Again, I'm Susie Duffy with Community Forum. Thank you for joining us, and have a great day. Thanks.